Can you imagine what it means for Red Bull to say goodbye to its partner Honda after so many years of success? Today, Christian Horner bids farewell to a golden era, and we tell you everything you need to know about this farewell. In this video, you'll discover how this separation will change the future of Red Bull and Honda, and what Horner really thinks about the collaboration that made them champions. What do you think about this change? Is it a good move for Red Bull, or will it leave them vulnerable? Leave us your comment. The separation between Red Bull and Honda in 2025 is due to a series of strategic, technical, and regulatory factors that have evolved over time. The relationship began in 2019, but from the outset, Honda had made it clear that its involvement in Formula One would not last forever. In 2020, Honda had already announced its intention to withdraw from F1 at the end of the 2021 season, due to the increasing financial pressure and technological complexities involved in manufacturing state-of-the-art hybrid engines. However, the Austrian team was in a critical situation. Following Renault's departure in 2018, Red Bull needed a new engine supplier to remain competitive in a championship dominated by Mercedes. Honda, which was in the process of rebuilding its reputation after its failed stint with McLaren, welcomed the challenge. Despite its initial withdrawal, Honda decided to continue in F1, motivated by the challenge of the new hybrid era and the opportunity to demonstrate its capabilities against the F1 giants. With the success of the alliance, especially after 2021, when Max Verstappen won the World Championship, Red Bull saw Honda as a valuable partner, but circumstances were changing. The current hybrid powertrains, based on a power unit architecture combining internal combustion engines and electric systems, were set to be replaced by new, more complex systems in 2026. These changes, driven by the FIA, required a much more technical and specialized approach, implying a significant investment in development, something Honda was no longer willing to undertake under the same conditions. Honda, following its withdrawal announcement in 2020, had made a significant shift in its approach by becoming a more strategic partner of Red Bull. Rather than being just an engine supplier, Honda became more deeply involved in the technical development of the cars. However, the decision to withdraw from Formula One in 2021 was linked to the transition to the new 2026 regulations. As Honda analyzed the new requirements and demands of the 2026 engines, the Japanese company began to realize that the resources required to compete effectively in this new era would be too large to remain viable within the Formula One framework. On the other hand, Red Bull, which already had long-term plans to develop its own propulsion systems, could not rely indefinitely on an external supplier. In 2021, the Austrian team began working on creating an internal division dedicated exclusively to the manufacture of power units, Red Bull Powertrains. This division became a fundamental part of the team's future strategy, which sought to have complete control over the performance of its cars, from the chassis to the engine. By 2026, Red Bull was clear that it needed to be self-sufficient in terms of powertrains, forcing both Red Bull and Honda to go their separate ways. The technical and economic challenge of developing a next-generation engine was not only significant, but the outlook for Formula One was also changing. The FIA had announced a series of new limits and regulations that would make power unit production even more expensive and complex. The need for a more compact engine with greater fuel efficiency and the introduction of a higher proportion of electric components meant that any manufacturer wishing to remain in F1 must have formidable technical and financial capacity. Honda, although capable and experienced in engine development, was unwilling to continue investing in this direction over the long term, especially when its vision for F1's future did not align with the commitment Red Bull wanted to make. Thus, in a twist of events, Red Bull not only had to find a new power unit supplier for the 2026 era, but also needed to ensure its technical independence was guaranteed. The Austrian company decided it was the right time to divest from Honda and assume full control of its car engines, leading to the creation of a new strategic partnership with Ford, an automotive giant that will provide the necessary resources for this ambitious project. For its part, Honda, which had previously planned to withdraw, decided to join Aston Martin in 2026, a move that puts it in a different position within the Formula One grid. Aston Martin, which had demonstrated significant growth in recent years, opted for Honda to improve its competitiveness, and the Japanese manufacturer's technical expertise in high-performance engines could be just what the British team needs to fight for the top spots on the grid. In short, the split was a consequence of F1's regulatory changes, Red Bull's ambitions for complete control over its powertrains, and Honda's strategic decisions regarding its future in motorsport. Both teams went their separate ways with an eye to the future, and while this split marks the end of an era of joint success, it also opens the door to new opportunities for each of them. Christian Horner, team principal of Red Bull Racing, has been one of the main architects of the team's success in recent years, and his statements regarding the split with Honda reflect both respect for the team's achievements and acceptance of the new challenges that lie ahead. In several interviews, Horner has spoken openly about the end of the collaboration with Honda, emphasizing that, although he is saddened by the closing of this chapter, he understands it is a necessary transition for the team's future. Red Bull has always been a team with a long-term vision, and the fact that it is now embarking on the development of its own power units is a clear demonstration of its ambition to remain a leader in Formula One. Horner has mentioned on several occasions that the relationship with Honda has been one of the most successful in recent F1 history. Following Renault's departure in 2018, Honda provided Red Bull with a reliable and powerful power unit, allowing the team to make the leap from competing for wins to fighting for championships. Horner's words about Honda have always been complimentary, highlighting their professionalism and the technical prowess they have demonstrated over the years. Honda has done an incredible job, not only developing a competitive engine but also quickly adapting to the team's demands, Horner said in an interview. Despite the impending split, Horner has made no secret of his confidence that Honda will remain competitive, especially in its new alliance with Aston Martin starting in 2026. Honda is a company with great technical prowess. They have proven themselves to be very capable, and I am confident they will have a competitive engine in 2026, Horner stated. This comment underscores the respect Horner has for Honda, recognizing its strengths despite the end of its relationship with Red Bull. The future for Red Bull, according to Horner, is equally promising, although it involves significant change. The decision to develop its own powertrains with the support of Ford represents a formidable challenge, but also a strategic opportunity. Horner noted that this step is crucial for Red Bull's growth and the team's ability to continue innovating without relying on an external supplier. The Austrian team has been a pioneer in F1 not only in terms of its chassis design but also in its approach to technology integration. Developing its own engine will allow Red Bull to have complete control over all aspects of its car's performance, which could offer decisive advantages in the quest for more titles. The collaboration with Ford, an automotive giant with a vast legacy in motorsport, adds a layer of credibility and resources to this ambitious project. Horner emphasized that Ford's support will provide the expertise and capabilities necessary for Red Bull to remain competitive in the new engine era that begins in 2026. However, Horner was clear in acknowledging that this is a significant challenge. Developing a Formula One engine is an extremely complex undertaking, and Red Bull will need to invest in technology, infrastructure, and personnel to ensure its power unit is competitive from day one. Horner also spoke about the difficulties Honda will face in its transition to Aston Martin. While expressing confidence that Honda will adapt, he also pointed to the technical challenges associated with developing a compact and powerful engine that meets the strict regulations for 2026. The difficulties Honda has faced in its development process are well known, and Horner commented that the Japanese brand has had to reorganize its efforts on several occasions. Honda had to stop and restart their project several times, which has cost them time, but I have every confidence that in the end they will have a competitive engine, Horner said. These words underscore Horner's respect for Honda's resilience and technical knowledge, even though the partnership with Red Bull has come to an end. In short, Christian Horner's words reflect an acknowledgement of both past achievements and future challenges. As Red Bull moves toward technical independence from Ford, and Honda prepares for its new era with Aston Martin, Horner maintains an optimistic outlook. Despite the separation, he continues to value Honda's contribution to Red Bull's success and expresses confidence that both parties will remain major forces in Formula One. Horner looks to the future with hope, knowing that Red Bull has what it takes to continue innovating and fighting for more championships, but also recognizing that Formula One is a highly competitive environment that always demands evolution and adaptation. The future of Red Bull and Honda, although now separated, remains a crucial topic within the Formula One landscape. Red Bull's decision to develop its own power units and Honda's decision to partner with Aston Martin in 2026 mark the beginning of exciting new stages for both. However, these moves are fraught with challenges and opportunities that could transform the F1 championship in the coming years. For Red Bull, the main objective now is to ensure its technical independence and continue to lead the grid. With the creation of Red Bull Powertrains, the Austrian team is taking control of its engine future, developing its own engines starting in 2026. This step means Red Bull will no longer rely on external suppliers, allowing them full control over car performance, engine integration, and technical innovations. The challenge, however, is enormous. Developing a competitive power unit that can compete with the engines of Mercedes, Ferrari, and, starting in 2026, new hybrid powertrains from other manufacturers, is no easy task. Red Bull will require not only large investments in research and development, but also a robust infrastructure and highly specialized equipment to ensure its engine is as competitive as its chassis. The alliance with Ford, announced in 2023, is a key move for Red Bull. Ford, with its vast experience in motorsport, brings the necessary resources and expertise for Red Bull to meet this challenge. Despite the successes achieved in the hybrid era, Formula One is about to change again with new regulations coming into effect in 2026. These changes include an increase in the proportion of electric components and a greater focus on sustainability, which will require engines to be more efficient and lighter, along with greater power output. The partnership with Ford will allow Red Bull to benefit from the experience of a manufacturer with a legacy in the engine industry, giving them a solid foundation to navigate these changes and remain competitive. On the other hand, Honda's departure from Red Bull also presents them with a golden opportunity to move into a new era, but it also puts them under significant pressure. Although Red Bull has always been known for its independence and innovation, developing its own engine will be a long and complicated process. The first power units produced in 2026 will have to undergo a series of rigorous tests and are unlikely to be perfect from the start. The team's ability to adapt quickly and correct any shortcomings will be critical to ensuring they don't lose ground to their rivals. As for Honda, its future in Formula One is shaped by a new alliance with Aston Martin. This is an interesting move, as Aston Martin, although growing in ambition, has not yet achieved the level of consistency and success that more established teams such as Mercedes or Ferrari have demonstrated over the years. However, the fact that Aston Martin has decided to partner with Honda is a clear sign that the British team is looking to make a major leap to the front of the grid. Honda's entry into this alliance could provide the necessary boost to make Aston Martin a serious contender, especially considering the impact that Honda's expertise in power unit development can have on the team's overall performance. However, for Honda, this will be a significant challenge. The Japanese brand, despite its successes with Red Bull, will have to adapt to a completely different environment with Aston Martin. Despite Honda's technical strengths, the fact that they struggled to develop their 2026 engine in a timely manner is indicative of the challenges they face. Honda will need to overcome several technical hurdles if it wants to live up to expectations. Developing an engine that meets new F1 regulations, which include a greater focus on efficiency and sustainability, will be a complex task. However, with Aston Martin's backing and its ambition to improve its grid position, Honda has the opportunity to make a strong comeback. One advantage Honda could leverage is the fact that Aston Martin, like Red Bull, constantly seeks to innovate and improve its technology. This philosophy could align their interests well, creating a synergy that allows them to work together to overcome the technical challenges of the new era of F1. Aston Martin, with its focus on infrastructure development and its growing market presence, could greatly benefit from a strong collaboration with Honda. In short, both Red Bull and Honda face a number of challenges as they begin this new phase of their respective Formula One journeys. Red Bull is banking on its technical independence, developing its own engines with support from Ford, while Honda seeks to revitalize its F1 presence through its partnership with Aston Martin. Both teams, although separate, remain key players in Formula One, and their evolution in the coming years could be pivotal in defining the future of the competition. The parting of ways between Red Bull and Honda marks the end of one of Formula One's most successful collaborations in recent years, but it also marks the beginning of exciting new chapters for both the Austrian team and the Japanese manufacturer. The partnership, which began in 2019, resulted in crucial victories, world championships, and a redefinition of the F1 competitive landscape. However, regulatory changes and Red Bull's long-term vision for power unit development have made this separation inevitable. On the one hand, Red Bull is taking a step toward technical independence by developing its own engines starting in 2026. With Ford's collaboration, the team is positioned to maintain its dominance in F1, not only as the best in terms of chassis, but also in terms of powertrains. This move, although risky, reflects Red Bull's desire to have complete control over all aspects of its performance. Without depending on external suppliers, the team will be able to adapt more flexibly to the demands of the championship and continue to lead innovation in Formula One. On the other hand, Honda, although parting ways with Red Bull, finds a new opportunity with Aston Martin. The challenge ahead for Honda is significant, but the experience gained with Red Bull gives them a solid foundation on which to build. The alliance with Aston Martin could be the key to Honda returning to the fight for the top positions, bringing its technical capabilities to a team that, with Fernando Alonso at the wheel, has clear aspirations of being competitive at the top of the grid. Although the two sides are parting ways, the legacy of the collaboration between Red Bull and Honda will live on in the memories of Formula One fans. The successful combination of engineering and performance that the two achieved together will be remembered as an example of how two entities can come together to challenge the status quo and create something truly dominant in the sport. What comes after 2026 will be a new chapter in the history of both. Red Bull, with its newfound technical independence, will have to prove that it can remain the team to beat without Honda's support. Meanwhile, Honda, in its new venture with Aston Martin, will have to face the challenges of developing a competitive engine that can compete with the F1 giants. The future of Formula One, therefore, looks both exciting and full of uncertainty. The decisions made by Red Bull and Honda in the coming years could have a decisive impact on the championship, and their respective moves could redefine how the teams approach technical development and strategic alliances. The 2025 season, with its final year of collaboration, will be an opportunity for both parties to showcase everything they have achieved together and bid farewell with a view to the future. The separation between Red Bull and Honda marks the end of an era, but it also opens up a range of possibilities for both teams. What lies ahead could change the course of Formula One, and we will all be attentive to the next moves of these two motorsport giants.